Hello and welcome. The Federal Ministry of Health is currently battling to retrieve thousands of stolen yellow cards valued at over 200 million from the streets and which are now being sold by touts in the open markets to prospective travelers. The yellow card is a proof that the traveler has been administered with the yellow fever vaccine. It costs 2,500 naira to be vaccinated at the designated clinics, airports, and border posts. But the stolen cards sell in the black market for up to 5,000 naira and without any vaccination. We at Primong, using an undercover, was able to buy the card in Abuja for 5,000 in the course of our investigation, just on the streets. I'm Okiria Agbonsuremi. It's good to have you again on Public Conscience on Radio, the program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, Primong, with support from the Makato Foundation. We are on Facebook. If you wish to join us there, that will be fine. Just go to official Primong, and we are there live. You can see us. And with me today on the program is Adaobi Obiabumo.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Our investigation was indeed extensive and revealing. Please stay with us on the program to get some of the details. The full details of the report with pictures are available on the news page of our website, which is news.primorg.org. That is news.primorg.org. Meanwhile, we must remind you, our listeners, that the birth registration and the accompanied document, the birth certificate, is free. Do not pay for birth certificates for your child if that child is below the age of 18.
The birth certificate has been paid for by the government. Don't pay for it. Don't get involved in those corruption that is taking place at the various registration centers. Today, we are flagging off our special investigative report on the huge revenue loss and the attendant public health implications occasioned by the illegal activities of some unscrupulous health workers under the yellow fever vaccination program of the federal government.
Yes, the yellow card is a proof that you have taken the yellow fever vaccine. You need the card to obtain entry into many countries to prevent you from getting the disease when you visit the endemic countries. Nigeria is unfortunately a country with prevalence of yellow fever as well. We need the vaccination in order not to carry the virus to other countries.
And as a result of the forgery of the previous cards, which were not e-card, they were not digital, the federal government introduced the e-card in April this year, spending millions of naira in the process. They were printed in batches A and B. The hope was that over 2 billion naira would be realized from the sale of the cards, thereby recovering the cost of the vaccines. But while the cards in batch A were still being sold and distributed legitimately, some senior officials of the Health Services Unit of the Department of Public Health in Abuja, as well as in Kano, made away with a huge number of the cards for illegal sales to travelers without the immunization. It is believed that the cards in the black market will be worth over 200 million naira.
You heard Ohira well. The cards will be worth over 200 million. Now, are you planning to travel to Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Asia, Europe, or other countries requiring the yellow card? If you pay to get it on the streets or at the ports illegally and without the actual vaccination, you stand a chance of being deported, or worse still, you can contract yellow fever if that country is endemic.
And by now, I guess someone out there will be wondering what has happened to the officials who stole the cards in Abuja and Kano. And the answer is nothing. Nothing has happened to them. The senior officer in Abuja has only been placed on suspension, while the one in Kano, we hear, is so powerfully connected through the political connections he has that even the Minister of Health is said not to be able to move him away from the office or get him a suspension. What they have simply done, is to move him away from the vaccination desk. He has not accounted for over 11,000 yellow cards valued at over 22 million naira.
Sometime last year, one of our partner organizations, Premium Times, reported how the yellow cards were sold inside the toilets by touts at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. That report indicated that many travelers do not get vaccination, but they just buy the cards supplied to touts by the health officials.
Next week, we'll be getting in the Premium Times editor or the reporter himself who will join us to tell us. But the story in Lagos last year is not different from what we have. But as at that time, the cards were not e-cards, and they were just manual cards, and it was possible to just get them printed by anybody. Any printer could have printed the yellow cards, and they were just distributed them. The story, if you go to the website of Premium Times, you will see how in the toilets at the Murtala Mohammed Airport, touts and cleaners were freely selling them to travelers who got to the airport and discovered that they cannot proceed because of immigration requirements that they need the yellow cards. Now, the federal government, as a result of that exercise, because it was easily printed in the open market and by anybody, decided to invest. And the Federal Executive Council, early this year, approved that e-cards be printed, e-yellow cards be printed. Those e-yellow cards were printed in batches, A and B, and they printed a total 1 million copies from our investigation. And the officials, those who are distributing them, we're selling them at the rate of 2,500 after an immunization. You get immunized. I mean, you get immunized before you get the card. But unfortunately, some officials, and I hear the chief matron, who is now on suspension in Abuja here, took a bulk of those cards, supported by some of the inner staff, and they took the from the batch B, which has not even, which they have not even opened, and they are distributing them, and they are on sale. When we went to the streets, what greeted us was amazing. You can actually find all those details with the pictures and all those stories that we told, because we cannot tell them here on radio. In our website, if you go to primog.org, just go to our news page, news.primog.org, you will get to see all the detailed reports and then the photographs of the cards that we were able to buy on the streets. And the questions are very, very many, Adaobi. Of course, we need to open up the phone and interact with our people, with those who are listening to us. I know traveling is not just for everybody, only very few number. To compare to our 200 million population, only very few number of citizens actually travel. They a very small percentage, but those who travel are also very many. We have millions of Nigeria outside. We have a lot of Nigerians who are traveling outside of Nigeria to countries where yellow fever is endemic. And recently, Adaobi, Kano, Katsina,
Bauchi.
The last was Bauchi.
Yes, the last was Bauchi. The result is terrifying. You know, so many people tend to neglect the fact that, yellow fever is not prevalent, but it is indeed prevalent. So for the people that buy the cards on the streets, it's a pity, because you might travel to some other country and you contact the disease without you knowing. Then when you get into Nigeria, you just distribute it.
And the upsurge in the yellow fever occurrence recently, the last one was in Bauchi, where there's a lot of people. We don't know, because what happened in Kano is instructive. Those stolen cars were actually distributed at the Hajj camp. And they were just given freely to people who didn't get the immunization. They were sold, and those monies were never paid into the government coffers. The officials just collected the money and sold those cars out. And unfortunately, nothing is done to them. And we also hear that even the officials are actually terrifying those group of new set of people that have been trained to indeed continue with the vaccination. But I think Adaobi, we should allow people to call in. But just before that, you want to tell them the line to send text messages.
And send that to 09022656167. That is 0902 0265-6167.
The one we are giving to you is, we have just given to you is the text message line. Please, our WhatsApp and text message 090-2265-6167. We want to interact with you. We don't want to politicize this matter. It's a very serious matter. We want the head of the nation to be very fine. We also want a situation where all the revenues that the government can possibly collect to do infrastructure, repair our roads, they are all there. So what do you think about it? Have you been a victim? The yellow card you possibly have in your hand, where did you get it from? And how much did you pay for it?
Not just where you got it from. Did you get the vaccine at the point of picking up the yellow card?
So let's see who is talking to us first. Hello.
Hello, my name is Michael.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Hearing this story is really disheartening. I just feel so unhappy. But mine is just more of an advice. It's less for these people or the travelers personally who know what is right to do it and not actually patronize these people, because it's not just going to tell on the country itself, it's telling on them and even the country that is endemic, like you rightly said. So it's quite sad. It's just sad that this is happening under our government. All the same, thank you.
Thank you so much. You are very correct. And now that will be that he has raised an issue, but maybe we should just go straight and take as much calls as possible. Yes. He has raised the issue. Let us not forget it. Why do people obtain it when they can easily get it?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Sister Adaobi.
Good morning, Mr. Deumi.
Thank you, my dear sister. Good morning to everybody in the studio. Just like what Mr. Oya said, let me start from there, sir. You said that we should not politicize it. Why can we not politicize it? In a country where one was suspended, the other one was higher than the second one. If you remember, former Minister of Health, because you spoke about this present Minister of Health, that he cannot forge the man in Kano. Former Minister of Health suspended Mr. Usman in NHIS. You know what happened? Mr. President instructed him back for committing a crime, because before the Minister of Health can do something like that, he has gone through many investigations. He was suspected. The man said that nobody can remove him except Mr. President. Look at what happened in Canada. You will know that this is a crime. I want those who are in charge to go after that man. They should suspend him. They don't need to change his office. Have to be suspended also if he wants not to politicize it. Now tell me, you get people to go to Saudi without immunized. What do they do in that Saudi Arabia? That's why they give us bad things. If you go out now, you go to South Africa. If South Africa people say what we are doing is wrong, we will say no. They are not deserved to insult us. They are not deserved to talk about us. Look at it now. How can somebody higher than the government? If it's supposed higher than government, they should deal with that type of person. That's my own advice. We cannot continue like this. I never collected a yellow card. I never traveled out of this country before. And can we tell God to cancel Nigeria? Because all these things happen every day. Look at what Mr. President said yesterday. Last year, NFPC spoke about issue of oil, that a lot of good oil means in the food of oil. Means, how come all those who happen? Everything in Nigeria happens. Now you are talking about South. Who is the South? They are not proud. It is those who are in government that they are giving it to them because they will tell them there is no problem. Go ahead, go and tell it. I will be the one that will stand for it, and nothing will happen. Take an example of that man in Kano. I beg, let us know his name and let them shame him. Please report him to EFCC. Don't let them use because of North and South. If they check the man that they suspend Abuja, that is from southern part of the country. We have to politicize it. If we are not politicizing it, the government of today, they are politicizing a lot of things. Former NHIS board, he invested 120 billion naira. What happened to him?
All right, Adewumi, thank you. Adewumi, thank you very much. We cannot actually run away from the politics of it. I agree with you totally. We have more calls. Those who want to share their experience with us, if you have, please let us know. Hello.
Yes, my name.
Thank you so much. Is that Kazim?
Kazim.
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, please.
I have opportunity to travel like twice or 3 times, and I did immunization in Ministry of Health.
Wonderful.
And I collected the yellow card. But this is a very pathetic situation in a country like this. And I think the government should wake up to its responsibility in making sure that whoever that goes out of the law, the full out of the law should take its course. And the journalists, like you have rightly done, should go ahead and deep into the situation and find out the name of the person and let's blackmail the government who is not willing and ready to change the situation.
Thank you so much for calling. Let us give others the opportunity to call in. The last caller said he picked a card and he got immunized and he's traveled out, is fine. And he's wondering why the person who is supposed to help in the process is the one having the problem. Hello.
Yeah, my name is Alexander. I'm calling from Dawaki right now.
Alexander?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Calling from Dawaki. Yeah, I want to ask. There was a time, I think, before Easter, I think around February, March, government told people to come get immunized. The green card was given to us. We got immunized under the bridge in some designated spots where you see those health workers then giving vaccines. Those people that took the vaccination then of this yellow fever, do you have an idea what the card is going to be useful when we're going to travel? Is it going to be changed to something else before traveling? I just want to know. Thank you.
Yeah, but if you were immunized, you have not gotten the yellow card. They must have given you some card. Whatever, all you need,
the green card.
Yeah, all you need to do is to go to designated clinics like the Federal Ministry of Health, and you show that card because the details are there. They will not issue you with the yellow card, which means you can present that yellow card anywhere as you are traveling to indicate that you have been immunized. And the immunization is once in a lifetime. So you don't need to do it a second time. Thank you. Generally speaking, we are taking a look at the fraud that is happening in parts of the Federal Ministry of Health where yellow fever vaccines are supposed to be guided and issued out before cards are issued out. Those cards are in the market, in the open market for sale. We bought one in Abuja, on the street in Abuja. If you just want it, they sell it at a higher premium for you. And there's a question that somebody has asked, why are Nigerians buying it at a higher price instead of going to the Federal Ministry to get it and get immunized at a lower price? There's a problem. Have you any experience with regard to this exercise? These are the things. We know tax is important, but the yellow fever thing is endemic. People are dying in Bauchi, Kano, Katsina. If there's outbreak of this, we don't know how it is coming, and probably those who have the cards in their hand get infected. Hello.
My name is Inka. I'm calling from DC.
Go ahead, Ika.
Yeah, thank you. I love the way you want us to stick to the topic. It should not be internationally.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you see, somebody said, why are Nigerians going to buy for the open market? Collect the vaccine. It is the same part of Nigeria, this sharp thing. You know, when you go to the clinic and see that particular injection, there's always this reaction in your system. So people tend to run away from it before, because if that thing comes out from your body, you are not able to travel again. To go to the market to go and get it in a sharp way.
So why would people? Because if it doesn't, when our officials went there, I have also gone there to get the vaccine for I spent just 30 minutes. Just 30 minutes from the time I got to that place, from the time I got the vaccine and the card, 30 minutes. So why will you go to the streets to go and buy the card when you can for a higher price?
Because that will be fear of that reaction. When you take that injection, there's always this reaction on your system.
I don't think so. I didn't get any reaction.
The rate of that reaction.
You must be lucky. You don't have the symptom in your system. That's how they run.
Is that the reason they are running away? But this is the first time I'm hearing that there are reactions, because when you take it, they watch you and they are allowed to, within that 30 minutes.
Yes, once you've been given the vaccine.
Sometimes back like that. Maybe 7 years ago. That will happen. People tend to run away from it.
Did you take it?
Yes.
Did you die after that? I guess you didn't die. That's why you are talking to us now.
I had a delay in my flight. I have to hold on again until that thing subsided before I now traveled.
Okay, you took it at the airport.
Yes.
Of course, you are not even supposed to take it at the airport. You are supposed to take it 10 days before you travel. You are supposed to be administered that vaccine 10 days before departure. So those who are taking...
That's just the same. That's just the reason why they go to the street to purchase it, to get it.
Is it now better for you to have yellow fever?
All right. Let's take the next call. Hello.
My name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, thank you.
I just want to ask a simple question. Those people selling the vaccine from outside the hospital, well, how do they get it?
There are no vaccines sold outside the hospital on the street. The hospitals...
The cards they are selling outside the hospital, instead of getting it from the hospital, why are they going to the public to buy the card? Who authorized the public to sell that card? That they are selling at a higher price right now. That is the question we should be asking ourselves. How did the car get out of the hospital to the public?
Well, we have already told you how some of the cars got out. Some of them have been printed. They have been.
I just put in my radio.
Okay. Let me remind. For those who are just joining us.
Going on in the hospital.
Okay. For those who are just joining us, we have told you that some people forge the cards. They print it and sell, and there's a chunk that has been stolen from the authentic cards printed by the Federal Ministry in the offices of the Federal Ministry of Health. Somebody there has stolen it in their thousands, and they are in the market. I bought the genuine one, but unauthorized. I mean, we bought it in the market. We bought the unauthorized genuine card on Abuja streets. So they are part of those cards that were stolen by somebody who is on suspension now. We don't want to get into the names because the police is involved. They are doing investigation. But the investigation is taking a lifetime. And we promise that we will get you the names if we discover that they are not doing what they ought to do. We don't also want to hamper their investigation. And the guy in Kano, in their office, simply went on his own to Hajj camp and was selling by himself without any immunization vaccines. And he was just selling. He has not been able to account for 11,000 cards worth over 22 million. This is the problem with the Federal Ministry of Health in the areas where they are administering these vaccines and where these cards ought to be issued after vaccination. Hello.
My name is Joe. I'm calling you from Bega.
Thank you.
The cards cannot just be missing. That is one. It's either somebody, a higher person, a director, the permanent secretary that knows about it. If they claim they don't know about it, that means that somebody will have authorized them to lift those things from their store or wherever they kept it.
Yes.
So they cannot just exempt themselves and hammer on those junior officers that they are the ones selling it. Somehow the stores are being paid to some people. People are just there, and that they know about all of this cards flinging in town.
I think you are very correct. We have also said, we have actually told you that a very senior officer has been suspended in Abuja office here at the Public Health Department, who ought to be in charge. The officer was said to have been responsible for stealing them and marketing them. Just on suspension, has been on suspension for God knows how long. But it's even good that one has been suspended. It's under investigation. But our guy in Kano is above everybody, talks to the governor, and they talk down all directors, and the minister here cannot even act on it. That is actually the dirty side to the entire thing. But what has happened to all those cards, 11,000 pieces, he has not accounted for. Nobody's, and that is not all the revenue. We are talking about the health implications. Those who have the cards but they have not been administered the vaccines. And who knows if they are even stealing those vaccines and taking them to private hospitals where they can sell them. It is not clear how wide this network is. And we are hoping that something will be done as we focus on this. And we want to have your own comments, your own experience. Do you have a yellow card? Where did you get it? Did you pay for it on the streets or in the office where you are administered with the vaccine? Hello.
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 Your name, sir?
My name is Ben.
Ben, thank you.
Yeah, you've been doing a great job. And I've had you several times. You've covered the event and you took your time to do this undercover. You see, the problem we have in this our country, people are not punished. People are punished, people will not repeat it. How can somebody go to... I went to the Ministry of Health. I got this vaccine 10 days before I traveled.
How long did you stay? When you went for it, how long did you stay at the clinic?
I didn't stay up to 2 hours here or 3 hours.
Okay.
And I got this thing easily. I want to tell you something. I've never seen in the whole world corruption like we are seeing in this country. The love of money. We have the security operatives at the airport. Are you telling me they are not seeing those trainers selling these things to travelers? They throw their face away. The truth is that we should build more prisons. Who is bigger than the law? How can you tell me somebody is offended that they suspend? You fire him. take him to the court and he go to the prison, and so somebody else will not repeat that same thing tomorrow. But we are playing politics with everything. Now you've done extra miles, done your undercover, get this thing out for the government. Now the person is suspended, or they will move him from here to Lagos or move him to Kunu, and that is the punishment. And he will repeat more grievous issues to the nation. So I want to thank you for the good job you are doing. Good to hear your voice again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, just before you get to those text messages, we want to tell you that the ministry, we are very, very reliably informed, and who have been involved at some stage have been trying to mop up the cards from the market, but it's not easy. And the only thing they can do is to do arrests, and the people they arrest on the streets, the touts, sometimes don't even know where these cards are. They just give them on the street, and they return the money, few, and they return the money to those who are selling them. Young boys, young girls who are actually selling them on the street at the airport and in designated areas where they easily sell them, particularly near embassies and high commission where prospective passengers need them. Some 6 persons were arrested recently, and they were actually granted bail by the court. They are probably back on the street to continue with the sale of the thing. The law is also so little. I mean, the punishment is so little that you just go in, get a lawyer, and then you get your bail, and you just get out of the place. But the fact is that, like the callers have said, we need to institute some measures that will prevent it. I guess we have some messages on.
Yes, we do. Someone sent a message. He said 7 years ago he actually got the vaccine and got the card, but how should he get the new e-card? So please, for the new e-card, just take your old card to Ministry of Health and you'll be given the new e-card. And Chris from Buhari, he says, Nigeria is indeed a funny country. Corruption everywhere. What a country.
Right, that's what we are dealing with. We are dealing with the corruption and but some of us actually into it. I mean, we know how to go. If we are traveling, like the last caller said, you plan your travel. You know that 10 days to your departure, you should have the vaccine. Then, but because you didn't get ready, you just rushed to the airport and asked, please, can I get any yellow card here? And you are willing to pay 15,000. They pay as much as 20,000 at the airport. So when they get that card, they don't get immunization. If they have the virus in their system, they are taking it to another country. And if they are going to that country where it is possibly endemic, they can contract yellow fever and bring it back to this country. That is the danger of the whole thing, apart from the revenue that the government is losing in the entire game. I guess you want to take more.
Yes, one more. Emmanuel says that it's unfortunate that we're talking of missing vaccination cards. I had my vaccine and the yellow card, but I had to use my connection to get the card after going there for more than a week.
That must have been an old time because but that must be long ago. For now, the structure, and I want to encourage you, is that nobody knew me. I just went there, sat down, paid 2,500, and I sat down. They didn't know who I was. When we also sent our undercover out there after that, I wanted to see it myself, and I got immunized. And within 45 minutes, I was out of that place. So, and if you have a card, you have an old card, please just go to the Federal Ministry of Health or any of the designated centers, and with the information in your old card, they can give you a new card, because the vaccine is once in a lifetime. You don't need to repeat it.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Emmanuel calling back. Because I overheard you say the person has been arrested and has been suspended. And the director in position of this card and everything has been suspended. But my question is, why are they suspending this man? This man should have been in jail. Because that is the truth.
But what they will need to, should they not suspend him?
Somebody you find guilty of something. If it was a poor man now, you put him in to remand. He will remain there and rot for something he knows nothing about. Now this man is being suspended for what? At the end of the day, he used the money to buy his way out of everything. And again, there should be another measure put together. That those people going out to buy it, and if they are caught, they should also be arrested. Things like this should stop in this country. We are just suffering. And it's not just the big men that are causing problem in this. There are people who help them to make this corruption, to have a headway in the ministry. It's not just them, because they don't go out there to do it. They have people who work with them. Even the police, they are involved. Not like people who lose money in this country. They don't just lose money. When they lose money, they get escort that money to whatever destination they want this money to get to. And these are the things we have to put in place. We cannot continue like this. We are just suffering. It's only the poor men that they are doing something. Those big men, when they do something, they just overlook. That is not how this country should go. We will be suffering for so long. It is high time we put an end to this.
All right, thank you. Let's take more calls.
Hello?
Please, I want to disagree with the last caller, my friend, Emmanuel. What for the one that they are not even suspended at all? He's still in office. And then, even though they suspend one of them, is one of the citizens, he may from the suspension lose the job. What of the one that is in Canada that they are not suspended? And from the Korea, I want you to do one thing for us next week. If that premium time journalist come, let them mention that person name. We will not let this matter die. Let the man go through the risk now. Let them arrest him. It is up to the prosecutor. How can they suspend one and leave one because it's from one side of the country? Somebody is telling me now that I know that they are the leader of the country. Can you imagine?
All right, Adewumi. I know how passionate you are about it, Adewumi. I agree with you that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander, and we should not even. That's why I say we shouldn't politicize it. No matter whether they come from the north or from the south. All those who are taking the vaccines, they are helping themselves, they are helping the nation, they are helping other countries they are going to. Those who are not taking it, they are endangering the lives of the people here and endangering the lives of other countries if they have the virus in their system. Now, if civil servant is found to suspected, that is the word they use, suspected to have committed a crime, they will suspend the person and do investigation. And if the person is found to be guilty or indicted, police will be called in, he'll be arrested or she will be arrested and then taken to court for all the process. These are the processes. The problem is that it takes such a long time. And then in the course of this, take up, go down, come back, we have a lot of things, so many things missing along the line. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, this is Mr. Opara on the line.
Thank you, Mrs. Opara.
I've been listening to the program. Actually, anyone that wants to do the right thing will do the right thing. I immunized myself with my children in 2017. Even the last baby that was 5 years, because we needed to travel outside the country, right?
Yes.
We did all the immunization, went to the Ministry of Health, and we got the information. You didn't take time. Even I have to take permission from the school and put them as we went there. The ones that were writing the exam, we have to go the next day. If you want to do the right thing and move the country and your family forward, you do the right thing. Not only are you taking the immunization for your own safety, but the safety of the family and yourself and the country around. Because anywhere you go in the world, you can contact anything. We took as much as both the yellow fever, the typhoid, and all the other things. It doesn't take time. So I don't see the reason why they should be giving an excuse, all these excuses of saying this thing, going somewhere to go and buy. It's just that I'm praying that let justice be done to this country and let God sanitize this country. And anybody caught doing bad things should be sanctioned. The person should go through the justice. The person should face the court of the law. And that's just my contribution this morning. It didn't take time. I will say the right to.
Thank you.
All my children, the 5 of them, they have this yellow card. They can go anywhere. And I trust even in the school they are safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That is actually safety.
Yes.
You are sure.
You are sure.
The process is very short.
It's very short. And
the amount is cheaper.
The amount is cheaper when you go to Ministry of Health than buying it from the streets.
You know what I took away from her? If people do the right thing, the person who stole the cars will not have anybody to buy it.
Exactly. If there's no...
So there's always the other side of it. If there's no demand, there will be no supply. Hello. Hello, go ahead. Your name?
Yeah, my name is Swat.
Your name is what?
Swat. I'm calling in. I've been listening to you today.
Yes, go ahead.
And it's quite interesting. The yellow fever card.
Yes.
I had an experience when I went to the Ministry of Health not too long ago because I had traveled to Ghana with my friends. Well, I listened to your experience saying that looks very short and all of that. But the truth is, my own experience is kind of different.
How long did it take? How long did it take you?
It took me a long while. In fact, more than 2-3 hours. In fact, playing a lot of politics with me getting the vaccination. It's just the intervention of a doctor around. You're one of the community doctors that works there in Ministry of Health. He kept on coming back to check up on me and was like, okay, have you taken the vaccination?
Yeah.
Because I went to the table, when we went in, they said we should take numbers, we should take position and seats and everything. I sat down for more than 30 minutes. I went and I asked the lady there and I was like, is this whole process still going on? And she said, yes, it's still going on. But they still calling the number practically. For another 45 minutes, I waited again. I go come back. They were not calling the numbers. And I realized that there were some people who were going behind and probably sorting out some people. And then they were taking them in and giving them. And then leaving those people who are taking their numbers, you understand, sit down there and dry up. So at the end of the day, it took the intervention of this doctor who actually came and helped me. He went and talked to someone. So somehow, not because I wanted to follow through the back door or something, but because he went and talked to them and then he now said, okay, I should come. So and then I was just into the room before I could take the vaccination. The woman was looking at me in a funny way and asking me what do I have for her and stuff like that.
Wonderful.
Seriously, yes.
Yeah.
That is at the Ministry of Health itself. The whole system is corrupt and, well, I don't support buying it outside. I support you going to the ministry and all of that. But honestly, I think the whole process needs to be evaluated because it's something that...
How long ago was this your experience, please?
This was just like, I traveled to Ghana in August.
Okay, that's not.
So that was in August.
That's under the last 2 months. So thank you very much, Swat. Thank you so much, Swat. And that experience is one that one other person has also said that it takes a longer time. I was there, I observed, sat down even before I followed the process. I sat down and watched the event. It was going so smoothly. That was what I observed in the last 2 weeks during this investigation. But I want to believe that you are correct and that there could be some challenge in that area, which we can actually address and begin to ask them to hasten up the process, set up more centers so that people don't spend more than 20-30 minutes to get this immunization.
Someone sent a message. He said he got the card illegally from Murtala Mohammed International Airport. He paid 1,000, but that the validity of the vaccine is 10 years. Initially, before 2016, it was 10 years. But World Health Organization reviewed the international health regulation from 10 years. Now the vaccine has a lifetime validity. It used to be 10 years before you go take another vaccine, but now it is once you've gotten the vaccine, you don't need to take the vaccine again. Yeah,
I think we are not medical doctors. What you need to find out from your doctor is if you took at the time it was 10 years, it had 10 years validity. Should you go back and take this lifetime vaccine? We cannot answer to that. Maybe next week we'll find out for our listener, because this topic we are bringing it back because we have a lot of issues to we have written to the Minister of Health, we have written to the Permanent Secretary, and we believe they are going to cooperate with us to come and do the sensitization that is required free of charge, because the MacArthur Foundation is paying for this program, is supporting us in this program. We want to help the society. We want to develop our own thinking process. We want to do things correctly. We want to do things rightly. By during that course of doing it, the thing right, we get more revenue, we get health safety for ourselves, and everybody is happy. Of course, the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development produced this program, and that will be. We are going to wrap up the program now. We want to thank everyone that supported us in this program that we have just run, those who called in particular. We want you to visit our page, the news page of our website, news.primorg.org. Primorg is P-R-I-M-O-R-G. P-R-I-M-O-R-G. news.primorg.org. That's news.primorg.org for all the details of the yellow fever card fraud story we have. And our videos on Primorg TV, they are on Primorg TV on YouTube channel. We have that if you want to go there. And we are also available on all our social media platforms at Official Primorg, whether it is Twitter, whether it's Facebook, or it is Instagram. We are all there at Official Primorg. Interact with us, drop a message for us, and share with us what you think we should do or what society should do to get better.
We want to encourage our listeners out there not to pay for birth certificates if your child is under the age of 18. Do not partake in the fraud in the registration process. And also remember to drop us a message on our email info@primorg.org or send us a message on 0902-265-6167.
Public Conscience on Radio was produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, Primorg, with support from the MacArthur Foundation. And
I am Adaobi Obiabomo.
And I'm Okiri Agbonsu Remi. Please join us next week for another interesting episode.